Hey everybody, James with Love My Pups Pretty Supply. This is a video specifically to answer questions for Tracy. So Tracy asks, when do eyes open, when do they start walking, when do they start eating? So we're talking about puppies here. So puppies' eyes open around day 10. Sometimes smaller puppies tend to open a little earlier than bigger ones. Day 8 through day 12, but most of the time it's day 10. And what you'll see is one eye starts to open up a little bit, and you'll see there's a little bit of eye opening up, and then the other one will open up maybe a day later. And we don't muck around with putting anything on there to open their eyes up or help with this process. Let them get on with it. Unless you've got a dog that has a really swollen eye with an infection under the eyeball. And in those situations, when the eye does start to open a little bit, we do tease it open a little bit and get all that muck out. And it looks like you're going to see, some terrible looking eye when it finally opens up. Never had that problem. It's always resolved itself. But it's basically conjunctivitis. But basically, if you get into that situation, when you start to see the beginnings of it opening up, go ahead and open it up, warm cloth, and just get the muck out of it. All right, so that's eyes. When do they start walking? All right, so you'll see puppies start walking. Tammy's put makeup over there, so you may not be able to answer me. I want to say about 2 weeks is about right on that. Tammy's saying 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And the thing to watch out for this one is, again, just let them get on with it. You don't have to do anything special. But if you're seeing 1 or 2 puppies that are getting really fat and everybody else is starting to move around on the back legs and they're not, it's time to start thinking about taping those back legs up, because those puppies can develop a flat chest because they're not getting up on their back legs. And to take the back legs up cures that really quickly. And the sooner you do that, if you're in that situation, the sooner you're going to get away from this flat chest syndrome. When do they start eating? Well, of course, they're eating, they're drinking milk from the moment they're born. They're ready to have milk, and in fact, you want to introduce them as soon as you can, within a few hours anyway, so they can get colostrum. So if you've got a long trip home, you might even give them a little feeding there when you're having a C-section, right there on the recovery table. See if you can't get a few puppies to nurse and get a little bit of colostrum right then. But after that, what's going to happen? Well, you could be supplementing milk with goat's milk, with either a bottle or a tube. Typically, they're not going to be able to do much with real food until they start to get teeth. And you will see that happening about, what do you think, Tammy, 3 weeks old, 3 to 4 weeks old?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
They just come in.
You'll feel little nubs and you'll feed them want to chew on stuff because they're gumming basically.
So 4.5 weeks is good.
Yeah, so what we do is we introduce them to, we use Royal Canin puppy mousse. It comes in a tin. And Tammy does mix that with a little bit of goat's milk, warmed goat's milk, to make a slurry out of it. And why would you want to do this? Because a number of situations where you want to introduce puppies to food earlier. Mum's milk production is not very good. She's got a large litter, she's really getting pulled down. She's not being very nice towards the puppies because she's getting fed up with them feeding on her. In all those situations, the sooner you can get them onto some slushy food, the better off you are. And once you do that, over the period of another week or so, you can migrate to softened kibble. So take the kibble, add hot water to it, let it stand for about 30 minutes. Then after that, a few days after that, you can start introducing them to hard kibble. By the time they're 5, 6 weeks old, for that process to happen. So that's that part. What is the ideal temperature for the heat source to be set at? Heat tape. Okay, let's talk about 2 things that we manufacture and what temperature they should be at. So the incubator just measures in centigrade. It should be set for 38 degrees centigrade, which is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If you've got a puppy that's really in trouble, you can turn it up a little bit more. If you've got lots of puppies in there, turn it down a little bit to 36. The secret to this is if the puppies are quiet and still, they're probably at the right temperature. If they are sweaty, open the lid up. They need to get some more airflow in there. If they are got their mouths open or they're panting, they're too hot, turn the temperature down. On the heat tape to go on the whelping system, we preset that to 104, and I would leave it that way. And people say, won't they get too hot? The simple answer is no, because if they got too hot, they just move off it. That's why they're there. They found it because it's warm. And if they find it's a little bit too warm, they'll move off it a little bit. And they don't do that. So 104 is perfect, which is also about 100, that's 40 degrees centigrade. And that system, by the way, comes that you can measure it and you can just select either centigrade or Fahrenheit. Okay, that's that one. What are the odds that I will need to have oxygen on hand? I can't find an affordable concentrator I can rent one for $20 a day. So If you do enough of this, the odds that you'll need a constant oxygen concentrator is 100%. You are going to need one at some point. You are going to have a small puppy or puppies that for various reasons need some help, and they need to be in an incubator, and they're having problems breathing, and those dogs have a much better chance of surviving with supplemental oxygen. So will you need it on this particular one? No. I mean, I'd say maybe 1 in 3 times you need oxygen. If you can rent one and you can do that at the last minute, then you've got a plan, so you can do that. Just keep your eye out to buy one for that better price. I just bought one the other day for $100. That's probably the cheapest one I bought. Typically the price I see on oxygen concentrators is more like $250. And we are, by the way, going to start carrying brand new oxygen concentrators, and that's going to happen hopefully in the next 30 days. Weight gain. Is there a percentage of weight increase that you expect to see day after day? And how do you know if they're getting their fair share of food? Well, by weighing them. So you need to weigh puppies when they come home and every day thereafter. You can expect for them to lose about ½ an ounce over the first 24-hour period. So if they weigh 8 ounces when they were born, they might weigh 7½ ounces the next day. The day after that, they'll have gained ½ an ounce back, and they'll be back to their birth weight at 8 ounces, and they need to be gaining about ½ an ounce every day. A puppy that's quiet, that has a nice moist feel to its inside of its mouth, we put a finger in there, and it suckles, and it's gaining ½ an ounce, that is a puppy that probably doesn't, you don't have to do anything, just keep on doing what you're doing. That's perfect. So how do you know if it's not getting enough food, and it's not getting its fair share? Its weight's not going up. It's as simple as that. And then it's time to either give it some one-on-one time with mum or tube feed or bottle feed. At what stage are they able to self-regulate their body temperature? Well, we leave the heat on in the heat system for like 3 weeks old. After that, you can turn it off. You could probably turn it off sooner than that, but I mean, it doesn't cost but a penny a day to run the thing. Do you and Tammy do training with your puppies prior to them going to their families? Crate training, pee-pad training?
All the above.
Yeah, so the answer is our puppies don't leave us until they're typically 9½ weeks old. Nobody ever leaves us until they've had their second shot at 9 weeks.
9½ to 10 weeks.
And Tammy likes 9½ to 10 weeks. And so at that point, you have started to do a certain amount of crate training. Remember, we're typically in a situation where you might have 6, 7, 8 puppies all together, and there's not much you can do crate training wise there, other than give them an environment that is more prone that they'll poop in one place. So what we transition to is a 4x4 playpen with a raised floor with a ½ inch grid, and it has trays underneath that. So the idea behind this is the puppies poop on the grade above, which is where they are, and then as they walk around on stuff, the poop falls through down below and they're not wallowing in their own mess. And then what Tammy does, she'll put a bed in one area and maybe some newspaper in one area and encourage them to go into a different area, and they tend to get the hang of that fairly quickly. And then the other thing that Tammy does is she'll take them outside and have a large playpen that's about maybe a 15-foot perimeter, put some water and some food down there, and in the morning and the evenings when it's cool outside, let those puppies go in there first to drink on concrete, drink and eat, and then we let them loose out on the grass. And we all of this
after they've had their second shot.
Yeah, all of this is monitored by us. None of this, we don't leave dogs outside ever by themselves. There's too many animals around where we are, hawks and foxes and coyotes. We've never had a problem with it, but we just wouldn't leave them.
What if?
Yeah, just what if. And I mean, you know, for our situation, when we let the dogs out after they've been in that contained area, man, they start running all over the place. And I mean, they can literally be ½ a mile away. I mean, you know, it's surprising how quickly dogs can disappear. Tend to go in a pack doing things, so just pay attention to that. Okay. How long should my female mama be on puppy food? Just until she stops nursing or longer? What will her recovery look like?
If she's got a lot of hair loss, keep feeding her puppy food.
So we start the puppy food at about what, 4 weeks into the pregnancy?
No, we start it as soon as they get bred.
Okay, there you go. So Tammy puts puppies, dogs, or mama dogs onto a higher protein diet, which is puppy food, right from when they get bred, along with vitamins that you get, a general vitamin, pet tab, something like that, and also 5 milligrams of folic acid every day. And then we continue with that food until they've finished nursing, they've weaned, and then if Tammy's saying is they're still skinny with hair loss, keep on doing it. Keep on with that extra protein
Those
food.
babies pull mama down
Yeah,
so much sometimes.
Yeah, when you think about this, where do babies come from? They come from the food that you give mum or from mum herself. And it's a little bit of everything. And if you get a large litter on a small girl, she can look pretty rough by the time you got to 5 or 6 weeks into this. So one of the secrets to that is to get them weaned as quick as you can, so they're off mum, which we talked about before. And the other thing is keep supplementing with whatever she'll eat. You know, I've never seen a fat dog, a dog that's got puppies on the ground that's fat. I just haven't seen it. So I don't think you can do too much to overfeed this. How long will it take for her to recover and look like she did beforehand? Varies by dog. So that's one of the things that we do to decide whether we're going to breed back to back or not, as to how quickly she recovers. We want to see a dog that's got back to its normal weight. You know, the birth has happened, 2 months later, 8 weeks later, she's still got puppies around here. Another couple of months after that, so that's 4 months after she had puppies. We want to see her being back completely where she was. And by the way, that's when she may come back into heat again. When, if ever, do your pups stop nursing? Will they nurse right up until they get to their new homes? Puppies will, so you go through a process of weaning, and I've got a whole video on this as part of that 12-part step video I did, but basically you're going to go through the process of weaning puppies from mum, which means that you're going to take away their milk supply, which means that you're going to do this gradually, otherwise mum will blow up because she's making milk and there's nobody to get the milk off her. So you've got to go through this process of maybe she only gets with them at night, and then she only gets with them, you know, late at night till early morning. You've got to gradually wean puppies away from mum. Puppies will take any opportunity to go get a drink, even when they're 9 weeks old. If you've got a mum up there who will let them nurse, they'll nurse on it. They don't need to. They're already on hard food at that point. So there's nothing here that you have to do. It's really a question of getting mum comfortable from having milk production to having no milk production. So you don't get her where she blows up and starts to get mastitis. So mastitis is where you've got basically milk that's not being drained from a boob that goes bad and can then cause an infection, an abscess, and can even cause a loss of the life of a dog. So pay attention to, you've got to wean sensibly in a way that mum is comfortable, but you can get her dried out. She's going to want to be away from her babies at some point, and that's another thing about all this, is make sure that you're clipping the nails on your puppies, because scratchy nails hurt mum's boobs. And then if she's getting a little bit red boob or a rash, put some hand cream or some lanolin or something like that on her boobs too. Helps make it a bit more slick and a bit more comfortable and a little bit less irritated. I think that's it. That gives you 30 minutes worth of my time on this. Hopefully everybody else can enjoy that. And now we've got a specific question she asked, and I'm not going to address that here. So, hey, thanks for watching. Wasted 30 minutes worth of your time. Just subscribe to us, we'd appreciate that. See you, everybody. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.